Simon Creswell, current championship leader in the Alfa Romeos. Please give us a little bit of the lowdown on your championship expectations with such a strong start to the season.
Well, I came second in the championship last year, but 2 years ago my first race ever was here. So it's been a good couple of years, and so far a good start to the season. We'll see what happens, but it's a very competitive series, so I'm happy to be sort of competitive, and to be leading at the moment is great. Hopefully that continues through the season.
Yeah, the Alphas are just as competitive as any other club championship that's out on the grid with the BRSCC at the moment. It makes for spectacular racing. But what was it particularly that drew you into the Alfa camp as opposed to anyone else?
I think partly the people, partly the cars. I mean, I've always liked Alfa Romeos. I met people from different series. When I got my race license 2 years ago, walked around, spoke to people, and I like the people, I like the cars, so it was a good combination.
Do you own one out on the road?
No, I've got a Maserati, so Italian cars.
Italian, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, best of luck with the rest of the season. Hopefully we'll be talking to you on the podium.
Great, thanks very much.
Well, let's see if Simon can make the podium this time as the cars get set for the race here. This is race 2 at Silverstone, and this is the grid. Anthony George and Chris McPhee on the front row, ahead of Ray Foley and Simon McPhee, then Ian Brookfield to round up the first half of the grid. James Browning and Simon Cresswell head up the Twin Sparks, ahead of Tiedemann, Ford, Bork and Messenger. Then we have Stacey Dennis, Andy Inman, John Griffiths and Paul Webster, with the back of the Twin Sparks set up by Geffen Llewellyn, and Tom Hill, look for him, reigning champion, to have a lot of work to do from the back of the field. So, 20 minutes of action for the Alfa Romeos are set to go. Once again, the first 4 cars at the front of the grid will go first. They'll go on the lights, which go out now, and we are underway. Good start from Chris McPhee, number 22. That Punto's got a good launch off the line. Meanwhile, the Union Jack will start the Twin Spark cars in the background as they head towards Abbey Corner for the first time. They have kicked off in the background, but Chris McPhee has the whole shot from Anthony George and Simon McPhee. Here come the Twin Sparks. James Browning looks as though he's got the line covered. It's side by side for second between Cresswell and Tiedemann. Also James Ford looking to the outside as they head through. Good sweep around the outside for James Ford for third position. And also look at Dave Messenger in the 79. Good start from him from deep in the grid. Overall leaders then heading through the complex into Chapel Corner and onto the hangar straight for the first time. Chris McPhee still leads. Anthony George is holding station ahead of Simon McPhee in second place overall, as they head onto the hangar straight to get to stretch their legs for the first time. Let's look at the background for a second and see if we can look at who's taking advantage in the Twin Spark class. We saw James Browning was leading first of all, but we'll wait and see if that's changed. Into Stowe Corner then. Chris McPhee and Chris and Simon have a pair of very immaculately prepared Fiat Puntos. It's great to have them here in the invitation class. They do add a little bit of variety to the Alfa Romeo Championship. They enter, of course, in the spirit of the championship under the regulations. They're not here to score any points. They're just here to have some fun and race amongst some other Italian cars as they turn their way out of Vale, out of Club, and onto the pit straight for the first time. There's Anthony George, the overall race 1 winner. And on to lap 2 they go. Now, let's look behind them to see who's winning the Twin Spark contingent out of the first lap. And it is James Browning who leads it from Cresswell second, Messenger up to third. Then it's James Ford fourth. Tiedemann's down to 5th ahead of Bork. And I think Geffen Llewellyn number 2's in the mix there as well, ahead of Tom Hill. With Stacey Dennis and Andy Inman also in that battle here. There's Michael Tiedemann, number 15. Out of Abbey and Farm Corner. And up towards Village and Maloop. Into the hairpin of the right-hander. No change of positions just yet. Andrew Bork thought about a move as Geffen Llewellyn tries to make a move on Tom Hill. But the reigning champion has it covered on the exit. So, Browning, Cresswell, Messenger. That's the Twin Spark top 3. Dave Messenger, a very experienced driver, has been racing Alfa Romeo for some years now in the Twin Spark Cup. With his trusty number 79, his trusty 156 Steed. Just a reminder, all these cars run the 2-litre Twin Spark engine. So you mostly get 156s in this race, but you do get the occasional 166 or a 147 or something else that runs the same engine. As the rest of the field come through, there's Andrew Bork trying to make a move on Tiedemann, but it wasn't quite close enough on that occasion. Stacey Dennis also keeping the leaders in check. Into the complex they go. Up the inside goes Tom Ford, passing Andrew Bork. He may have had a very shaky exit from Stowe Corner, but Tom Ford takes full advantage and he's up another spot. I think Geffen Llewellyn also had a bit of a shaky exit out of the first part of Club, but he's starting to recover well. He may fall into the clutches of Stacey Dennis. Now then, This is the change for the overall lead because Anthony George has got around Chris McPhee. The Fiat Punto has capitulated, and the Alfa Romeo 3316 valve of Anthony George is now into the overall race lead. So there's Simon McPhee, pretty comfortable in third place. The twin spark cars flash into shot, and it's the duel for second now because Dave Messenger is fed up of being in third place. He's thinking, I'd rather not stare at the back of a black and orange 156. I'd rather go for the race lead. There's James Ford, number 23. Down the back straight they go once again, and these twin spark guys are running it probably fast enough to try and catch Simon McPhee. They did that in the first race, and he became something of a catalyst in amongst the leaders of the twin sparks as Dave Messenger looks to the outside at Stowe Corner on Simon Cresswell. There's Dave in his Italian flag inspired colour scheme on the car, red, white and green. And you may look for a move up the inside at Vale here, but Cresswell's got the line covered. As back up the inside, that's Tideman, I think, defending from Tom Hill, who's continuing to make a march towards the front of the field. Leaders turn their way to complete another lap. They're keeping Simon McPhee in distance as Simon Cresswell knows what's happening here because he's going defensive. He's going to the inside line to defend from an attack from Dave Messenger into Abbey Corner. Nothing doing just yet, but Dave Messenger's a very wily old fox. He knows what to do in the Alfa Romeo Championship. He's no stranger. He knows how to win. He knows how to get a pass done. Just keeping a watching brief, but he's going to have to do so behind him also, because look at James Ford. That's behind them also, flashing through shot. That was Tom Hill up the inside of Michael Tideman. And I think he has got it done. Look in the background for the black car. And yes, I think he has got it done. So that is Tom Hill up to 5th position as a small kick of dust from Dave Messenger and a super exit from the 79. He's trying to pull alongside the Australian Simon Cresswell. They're side by side for second place. They're almost rubbing panels. And James Ford's trying to get up the inside of both of them. It could be 3 abreast into Stowe Corner. James Ford, where's he come from up the inside? Can't get it done because Dave Messenger closes the door as he continues to attack Simon Cresswell. But James Ford is lurking. And there is Tom Hill, now having to fend off advances from both Michael Tideman and Andrew Bork. Into Vale. Still Cresswell from Messenger from Ford. No change there. But you've got a feeling that it might change any time soon here if he's not too careful. Dave Messenger back up the inside again into Club Corner. Oops! Tag from Messenger on Cresswell. Cresswell sideways on the exit of the corner. And James Ford could take advantage here. He slips past Cresswell. Up the inside of Messenger. Into Abbey Corner. And James says, thank you very much, boys. You scrap amongst yourselves. I'll take both of them if you don't mind. So that mishap has been a godsend to James Ford because he's sent one up the inside and he's now holding station in second place. So Messenger and Cresswell have got it all to do now. Yes, Messenger gained a place, but he's not any further up the field because he's still in third place, but it's a different coloured car he's got to try and stay at the back of it now. And he's not content with staying in third place. He had an aggressive run through Chapel Corner on the apex. And as he tries to close back in again for second place, let's see what he's got in the tank here. Browning still leads, but this is battle for second place we continue to focus on. There's Browning, the white car that flashed through the shot. James Ford a little bit oversteery through Stowe Corner. Here's Simon Cresswell, having to fall back a little bit in fourth position. They go back to Abbey Corner. Messenger looking to the outside, putting himself in Ford's mirrors, just trying to see if there's an avenue to get through here. You might try a cut back, but Ford's wise to it. Covers the line well. And Messenger trying again to peek up the inside on the exit of Club Corner. But it's a strong effort from James Ford so far. He's holding off someone as experienced and rapid as Dave Messenger. And you can see in front that James Browning again is starting to close in on Simon McPhee. Even though Simon's in an invitation class car, it's not to say he can't come under attack from those scoring points. So still the battle rages on. Ford, Messenger. What can Messenger do here? A little bit of an oversteer moment from Ford. He likes that car set up a little bit loose by the looks of it. A little deep on the exit of Village. Through the kink. Into Chapel Corner. Another oversteer moment. Very wobbly on in the middle of the corner there for James Ford. That could be the opportunity that Dave Messenger needs to possibly line him up in the slipstream and send one up the inside at Stowe Corner. Bear in mind that Cresswell and Tom Hill are both keeping a watching brief. They're not too far away. They can capitalise if there's a mistake, as James Ford did when Messenger and Cresswell came to blows a couple of laps ago at Club Corner. Staying as they were, a little wide again from Ford. He really is on the ragged edge to try and defend from Messenger here. There's Michael Tiedemann at the back of that queue. And again, Messenger tries to get the cut back and switch back on the exit. But nothing just yet. And he needs a good momentum up the inside. He tries again, but I think he's learnt his lesson from last time when he tried that at Cresswell. Because when he did that move at Club last time out, when he tried to pass somebody, he made contact and they both came to blows. And they both lost out to James Ford. So, Dave's smarter than that. Fine effort from James so far to hold off the advances of the charging pack behind him. Into the complex again at Village Corner. And James Ford's car is very loose. Now, I'm presuming that's just setup changes and how he likes the car set up. Or it's... I don't think it's a problem, but he's certainly throwing the car around a little bit. As again, he slightly misses the apex, a little deep into the corner. But Messenger's got a nicer and tighter run off the exit of Chapel Corner. They're coming up to past the Alfa 155 of Ian Brookfield in the Power Trophy class. They all filter past it. It's good driving from Ian, just keeping out of the way of everyone. As, look in the background, Tom Hill is attacking Simon Cresswell on the outside. That will be for 4th position in the Twin Spark class. He's not close enough on the exit to pull alongside, but he's going to try and assess a move here within the next few corners. Messenger again, going on the attack for the 3rd lap in a row, it feels like. Through Vale, through the first part of Club. And again, Messenger likes that tighter line on the exit of Club Corner, but every time he tries it, the guy in front seems to close the door. But that said, he must have rattled James Ford a little bit, because the way he's driving is behind also. Look at the duel that's going on for 6th position, because we've got Tiedemann on the inside, Bork on the inside, on the outside I should say, and it's Tiedemann in the number 15 that gets through then. So that's Tiedemann up to P6. And into Village Corner again. Messenger may look up the inside once more, as here comes Tom Hill up the inside for 4th place on Simon Cresswell. Side by side, they almost rub doors, but Cresswell just about clings on. But as he left the door open at Chapel Corner, he may have done. Oh, Cresswell chops across the nose of Tom Hill and says, "Oh, no you don't, not this time out." So James Browning continuing to extend his advantage further as he continues his pursuit of Simon McPhee's invitation class Fiat Punto. And still Ford, Messenger, Cresswell, Hill in that order. 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th positions on your screen right now. There is Tiedemann and Bork, 6th and 7th. And back into the complex at Vale. Simon Cresswell has taken a couple of race wins in his career in the Alfa Romeo Championship, in the Twin Spark Cup, so he's a very handy driver. And as we heard when he was speaking to Rachel earlier on before the race, that he's leading the championship and possibly could be a dark horse to get himself in contention for the overall championship victory. Now the question has to be for Dave Messenger, just what does he have to do to get close enough to try and make an attack here on James Ford? He misses the apex ever so slightly again through Village. And Cresswell still holding off the advances of Tom Hill behind him. And if you look right at the back of the shot, you've still got Tiedemann and Bork battling hand over fist for 6th position. So they're all split up into packs of 2 really. Meanwhile, back at the front, it's a pretty simple task for Anthony George so far in the 33. Out there in pretty much a league of his own at the moment. The car seems to be running well. He's coming up towards the back of the Twin Spark battle. That looks to be the 13 of John Griffiths ahead of the 66 of Paul Webster. So they'll be dicing away for what looks to be, I think, 10th and 11th in class. Anthony enjoying himself in the sunshine here at Silverstone. Beautiful race conditions. Fantastic day for it. As we look back to the Twin Sparks now, there's James Browning, and again they've paired off for 2nd, paired off for 4th, and they've dropped 5th and 6th and 7th positions behind them. And I wonder if Cresswell's pace seems to be good enough to start to close in on 2nd and 3rd and bring Tom Hill with him. Let's find out and see if that's the case. back into Village. Tom Hill again going on the attack. Simon Cresswell's thoughts of maybe sort of forming a bit of a coalition with Tom Hill to say, come on, come with me and we'll try and close into these two. At the moment, seems to be falling on deaf ears at the moment because it's not happening. What is happening, meanwhile, is Anthony George continuing to dominate this race at the front in the modified class Alpha 33. There is Chris McPhee. And Chris is a handy driver, and that Punto is quite a machine. It's got some poke in it because it can certainly keep Anthony George's modified class car within its sights, and that's amazing to see. As they turn through Abbey Corner, a very striking white livery with the red and blue flashes, and holding off the almost metallic sort of charcoal grey Punto with the luminous yellow wheels and wing mirrors. So back into Chapel again. Anthony George just having the time of his life, really, just enjoying himself. Not really challenged too much. McPhee's keeping him honest to a certain extent, but not really anywhere near a chance to be an immediate threat. So he's just keeping the gap nice and consistent here. Looks to be roughly about a second and a half so far. So they come back through Stowe again for another lap. And nice and smooth, nice and steady. And this is the good thing about the Alfa Romeo Championship, is that you can enter, well, within reason, practically any Alfa Romeo that you want. You can simply just modify it to the rules and get yourself on track. It's a fantastic way to race something as exotic and as passionate and with as much flair and enthusiasm as an Alfa Romeo. They do say you're not a true petrolhead unless you've owned one. I'm sure you'll be an ultimate petrolhead if you race one. Now, we've got here a battle that's developing between the 66 of Paul Webster and my number 13 of John Griffiths. These two have been sort of keeping in close proximity. There's Paul, with East Bilney Coachworks emblazoned on the side of his number 66 Alpha. So it's Griffiths 156 against... Actually, I got that the wrong way around, actually. My apologies, it was actually the 13 John Griffiths in the 147 ahead of Paul Webster's 156. So it's the 147 of Griffiths ahead of Webster's 156. I'm getting my numbers mixed up in a minute here. But these two have run in pretty close proximity for the most part. Just keeping it nice and steady. And this is the good thing as well, because even though they might be down the order, there's still somebody to race within this championship, and that's the key thing, in that you can come into this championship. It doesn't matter your skill level or what kind of Alpha you've got or what class you're in. The main thing is getting out on track and actually enjoying yourself and actually finding someone to battle with. Whether you're at the front, in the mid-pack or towards the rear, doesn't matter. There's somebody to race with, somebody to have fun with. And let's face it, who doesn't come off the track after a good battle with a massive smile on their face? That's what this championship's all about. Now then, Webster could be getting himself into a battle here, because that was a pretty steady exit from John Griffiths. He wasn't that quick on the power. Off the corner. As they head back towards Abbey Corner. Very fast right-hander, then through Farm, the left-hander that sweeps around back towards the Village complex. So into the complex once more. And a little wide there for Griffiths. He could have taken the apex a little bit tighter. But Griffiths is just keeping a watching brief here. He knows what the score is. And I suspect these two are probably enjoying themselves a little bit too much to care in some respects. There's no one in front of them, no one around them. They're just simply having the time of their life out on their own. They say you only need 2 cars to make a race, but they're certainly having a good scrap here at the moment. Griffiths will try and extend the gap a little bit further on Webster if he can. And likewise vice versa. Webster will want to try and reduce that gap as much as possible as they head back towards the complex at Vale. We saw, it looks to me as that was Chris McPhee in the 22, wasn't too far away there. And again, seems to be Griffiths just seems to hesitate a little bit on the exit of the first part of Club Corner. But once he gets through the second part, he seems to build up his momentum a little bit more, and it seems to suit him a little bit better. So back across the stripe once again. And that's actually Simon McPhee, my apologies. Simon McPhee in there too, as they turn their way out of Abbey Corner once again on the beginning of yet another lap of the international circuit. Past the magnificent wing complex, of course, that was constructed a couple of years ago. And it's given the international circuit something of a renewed sort of a renewed personality, gives it its own sort of identity, if you like. Onto the hanger straight again. Paul Webster a little bit closer this time, trying to find a little bit more pace here. There it is, Simon McPhee trying to close them down. I think we can actually look behind, because we've actually got our twin spark cars popping into view, and that is James Ford. But where is James Browning? I think that's him at the back of the shot. So James Ford is now in the lead. Messenger is second place. Cresswell attacking third. And there's James Browning. And has he got a problem? Is that James Browning cruising on the back straight? I think it is. Well, Cresswell's defending from Hill up towards Stowe Corner. But as they go through the right-hander, I think that Browning's got a problem. Because I just saw Tiedemann and also Bork filing past as well. So James Browning, after a superb win in race 1, is suffering an awful tale of woe underneath that bonnet, because that car is not having a good time of it. Meanwhile, onto the last lap. This is Simon McPhee turning their way into Abbey Corner. But here is our twin spark leader then, James Ford. After a good early battle on, he managed to take advantage of the scrap between Cresswell and Messenger. But this man, Anthony George, has had practically no one to challenge him whatsoever in this race. He's managed to spread eagle the field nicely, as James Browning there sadly starts to tour into the pit lane. That's a shame, because he had such a good run up until his mechanical issues. But one man with no issues whatsoever is Anthony George. He'll head through Farm Corner. He's almost home. Through the first part of Club. Through the second part of Club. And it looks as though we're actually hearing it could be a penalty here for Anthony George. Possibly. Or it may or may not be, because the camera focused on Chris McPhee for a second. But Anthony George, we're confirming, actually does win the race. Chris McPhee in second place. And then third place will be Simon McPhee in the second of the Fiat Puntos in the invitation class. Waiting for our twin spark winners here. That's Ian Brookfield there in the Power Trophy class. He'll win the Power Trophy class. He was the only car that made it out, because no Ray Foley, sadly, with mechanical issues. Here comes Simon McPhee in the 21. And where is James Ford, our twin spark winner? There he is. James Ford wins the second twin spark race here at Silverstone. Second place will go to Dave Messenger, and third up from the back of the twin spark grid goes to Tom Hill. And Dave Messenger very happy with second place, punching the air with delight. So here's the result then for this race 2 at Silverstone, with a very happy Anthony George in the 33 in the modified class. So here it is. Anthony George wins, with Chris McPhee second place, Simon McPhee third, James Ford wins twin spark ahead of David Messenger and Tom Hill, and Simon Cresswell, Michael Tiedemann and Andrew Bork rounding out the top 9 cars that finished. And then we look further down the table for 10th downwards. We have Geffen Llewellyn in 10th position ahead of Stacey Dennis, Andy Inman, John Griffiths, Paul Webster and Ian Brookfield last of the 15 finishers, but he wins Power Trophy as well. And Rachel will have the podium finishers on the podium down in pit lane.
James Ford, class winner in the Twin Sparks race 2 of the weekend. Congratulations. What a way to end your weekend.
Yeah, it's a great way to end. It's been really difficult, so to come out on top, so yeah, I'm really proud, pleased with it.
Yeah. When you say difficult, have you had teamwork behind the scenes to deal with, or just tough out on track?
Tough on track for one. I mean, yesterday was a great battle. 6 of us all up front within a couple of seconds, and today struggling again with tyres, but I've probably got a bit lucky, I think, in some places and played the right kind of game, and luckily for me, it worked out kind of well.
Tyres simply pressure, or due down to the heat?
Well, yeah, they're both linked, so I think the heat influenced it, and yeah, we were struggling a little with pressures, I guess.
I can't help but notice you've got some of your family with you right now. Your boys Kai and Rio sharing in your victory?
Yeah, I think they're both probably even more pleased than I am. They're both very happy.
And what do you like best about coming to watch Daddy race at the weekend?
I just like watching him enjoy himself and have fun.
And what about you, Kai?
It's probably because he never gives up and he's really good at it.
That's a very good example. I hope you take note from him as you grow up. So we're going to be seeing you at each race?
I don't know.
Well, I hope so, and I'm going to wish Dad the best of luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully be talking to you again.
Thank you very much. Thanks.